Alright, I got 3 points of contact entering my vehicle. As soon as my butt touches the seat, I'm going to make sure that my seatbelt is properly mounted and secured, not cut, torn, or frayed. It latches and unlatches. I'm going to ask my passengers to check if their seatbelts are properly mounted and secured, cut, torn, or frayed, and they latch and unlatch. Okay? That's my first S. My second S is going to be my fire extinguisher. It's properly mounted and secured. It's fully charged. It's properly rated, and the pin is intact. Next, I'm going to point somewhere wherever those 3 red triangles are, 3 reflective triangles. They're properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, and they can stand alone. All right. Next, I'm going to check for my fuses. They're present and ready for emergencies. All right. I'm going to conduct a safe start in order for me to continue this in-cab inspection. So first, I'm going to turn it into the on position, checking for my ABS light to turn on. It's supposed to turn off. All right, now it is turned off. I'm going to keep my hand on the key for 4 seconds as I do a full crank and check for my engine oil to spike. All right, so now I'm conducting my safe start. Next, I'm going to go. I usually do my glasses, then my steering wheel, then my gauges. So I'm going to do that way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do my driver's side window. It works properly. It's properly mounted and secured, not cracked, not bent, not broken. The seal is intact and it's not leaking. All right, I'm going to check the same thing for my passenger side window. It's working properly. It's properly mounted and secured, not cracked, not bent, not broken. The seal is intact and is not leaking. And I can see through them. There's no obstruction, no illegal stickers. Next thing is my side view mirrors. They're properly mounted and secured, not cracked, not bent, not broken, and they are oriented towards the driver, which is me. I can clearly see them, and they're not dirty or anything. No fogginess or anything like that. All right. Next, I've got my windshield. It's properly mounted and secured. The seal is intact, not leaking, no illegal stickers. No obstruction of view, and it's clean and clear, not damaged. All right. Next, I'm going to check for my windshield wipers. They're properly mounted and secured, not damaged, and they're working. How you do this shit?
Yeah. Push it in. No. Push it. No, like push it in.
Oh, push it in.
There you go.
Okay, got you.
And turn it.
You can turn it. Okay. My windshield wipers are working properly, and also the squirters are working properly. The windshield wiper blades are properly mounted and secured, not cut, not torn, not frayed, and they're firmly pressed against the windshield. All right? And my windshield wiper fluid is at the proper operating level. All right? Now my dashboard, it has no obstructions, and it's clear and I can see clearly through my windshield, no obstructions on my dashboard. Okay, now that concludes my G's. Now I'm going to go to my steering wheel. My steering wheel is properly mounted and secured. There's no excessive play, and it's not too hard to turn. Okay, I'm going to check my city horn. Now I'm going to check my my highway horn. Oh yeah, city horn, highway horn. All right, those are properly mounted and secured. They're working properly, and everything's okay. Next, I'm going to check my light indicators. First, I'm going to check my left turn signal, my right turn signal, my high beams, my low beams, and my 4-way flashers. Those are all working properly. Now, I'm going to go into my second group of G's. So first, I have my engine oil gauge. It's rising to the proper operating level. My DEF tank is rising to the proper operating level and is operating no less than 1/8 of fluid. Next, I have my water, or my coolant, is rising to the proper operating level. My oil is rising to the proper operating level. My RPM, I will check during my brake test and my tuck test, as well as my miles per hour. Next, I have my fuel. It's no less than 3/4 to full. My volts is between 12 and 14 volts. My PSI primary and my PSI secondary I'm checking if it's between 120 and 140 psi and listening for my governor cutoff. Okay, so that's my second group of G's. After that, I'm going to make sure I just look at my brakes, make sure that they're fully engaged and popped out. Now I'm going to check my climate. I'll turn it to heat, turn it all the way to defrost, put my hand up, wait 10 seconds in order for it to kick on and make sure it's working properly. Okay, I waited my 10 seconds. Now I'm going to check for the front vents to see if my front vents and my heat is working properly. All right, I waited that time. Now I'm going to put it to the proper temperature for driving. All right, after my climate, I'm going to make sure that my PSI is at the proper operating level and I listen for governor cutoff. So I'm going to assist it by rising the RPM between 12 to 15, making sure I'm in neutral. All right, I heard my governor cutoff, so I'm now at the proper operating level for my PSI. I will conduct my tug test. So the first thing on my tug test, I will test my trailer brakes. So I will make sure I have my foot on the brake, disengage my tractor brakes, keeping my trailer brakes engaged, and I'll put it into drive. I will slowly tug against my trailer to see if there's any movement. All right, my vehicle did not move. Now I'll engage my tractor brakes, keeping my foot on the brake. You be going back into neutral. Okay. Now I will go and disengage my trailer brakes, keeping my tractor brakes engaged. I'll put it in drive. I will accelerate and see if my vehicle is moving. And it does not move. All right, now I will engage both, put it back into neutral, and now I'll perform my service test, my service brakes test. Okay? So as I'm doing the service brakes test, I'll have my hands slightly hover over the steering wheel. And as I'm braking, I am checking if the vehicle pulls left or right, has any abnormal braking. Okay? So I'll disengage both of them, put it into drive, with my foot on the brake.
Watch that thing.
You gotta get in, that's what you about to do. I'm going at 5 miles per hour, coming to a slow and easy stop. Alright, and firmly stop. Now, I'll go back into neutral, I'll engage both brakes, and prior to my lap test, I will ensure that my PSI is rising to the proper operating level. Okay, so I will do that by assisting it between 12 and 15 RPM and listening for governor cutoff. Okay, so just make sure that your brakes are engaged, you're in the right gear, now you can assist it. Cutoff between 120 and 140 psi. All right, that's my first governor cutoff. Listening for my second governor cutoff. I think this primary should be full.
It's gonna go off twice on this port.
It might go off once. I just seen the secondary go like above 120, but let's just say they're both full. All right, my governor cut off. It went properly. Okay. So now I will conduct my leaks test. So first things first, I'm going to turn off the vehicle, secure it, unlatch, 3 points of contact. I'm going to be chalking my wheels. All right.
Hey, what y'all using for the chop? There's chops out there. There's chops out there.
No. We should make sure Agnes is doing
right, now I'm gonna get out, or I'm gonna get in. 3 points of contact.
It doesn't matter if you chalk the front ones or the rear ones?
It's just the front left. You gotta chalk it from the front and the back of one wheel. So now, I'm gonna secure my seat belt. Alright, now I'll conduct a half safe start. So this is all I want is my gauges to activate, my ABS light to turn on and off. So I see my ABS light turning on and turning off. My gauges are all reading, and now I will begin my leaks test. I'll take my timer, make sure it's at the proper time. I'll show my instructor it's at the proper time. Okay? Now I will disengage my brakes, waiting 30 seconds or until the dash stops making any type of hissing noise and my PSI needles stabilize. Been waiting.
Those you have the front and put your feet on the brakes.
No, because they're chalked, they're secured. We're secured right now. Okay, now that it is stabilized, now I will take my timer and I will show my instructor as I am about to press on the brake. I'll press the brake and I will start my timer. Now I will lose no more than 4 psi in a minute. I'm holding firmly and steadily on my brake. I hold the brake firmly. I should tell him I'm not going to lose more than 4 psi prior to doing this, so just make sure you do that. So I'm holding it firmly. I'm not losing any air pressure. We'll just say 40 seconds has passed since we're already at like 40. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, I didn't lose no more than 4 psi in a minute, so I will secure the timer. Now I will conduct my alarms test, which will consist of 2 different alarms, an audio and a visual. So I will evenly fan my brakes until I hear them. So that's my visual alarm and my audio alarm that just kicked on below 60 psi. Next, I will check for my buttons alarms between 20 and 40 psi. Evenly fanning the brakes until these buttons pop out. Almost there. Alright, now both of well, this one don't look like it popped out. Yeah, it didn't look like it popped out.
Pop, but it didn't pop all the way
It
out.
didn't pop all the way out. Just, make sure your buttons pop out. Alright? So now between 20 and 40 psi, my buttons have activated and my spring brakes are now engaged. So from this point on, I will now do a safe start to build my air pressure back up. So from this half crank position, I'll do a full crank position. Now I'll be waiting for my PSI level to rise back between 120 and 140 PSI. Okay? During this time, I will ask you to assist me in checking my external lights. Do you really want to do it?
Reverse light, but
So my instructor has just gotten out and checked for my external lights, and I'm not at the air pressure yet, or the proper air pressure yet, so I will assist it, making sure I'm in neutral. My brakes are set. Okay? So I'll assist it between 12 and 15 RPM.
how much PSI, how many PSIs you have?
It's at 90, about 100 right now.
The primary cutoff.
My primary cutoff is 120, 140. Try to guess it. Try to guess it. Damn. I was off a little bit. All right. So now that my governor has cut off and I'm at the proper PSI level, my brakes are engaged, I'm in neutral. Now I will go and unshock the wheels. So first, I will turn the vehicle off, secure the key, unlatch my seatbelt, get out with 3 points of contact. Alright, 3 points of contact getting back into the vehicle. Putting my seatbelt back on. And now I will conduct one last safe start. Putting the key into the ignition, doing a half turn, checking for my ABS light to turn on.
Also monitor my oil pressure.
And turns off. Okay, now I will do a full crank, making sure my engine oil doesn't spike, keeping my hand on the key for 4 seconds. Checking if my PSI is at the proper operating level between 120 and 140 PSI. And that concludes my in-cab inspection.